Sta Bil is America's #1 fuel stabilizer. It's a tagline for sure, but it's also rooted in fact. How do we know? Because we test it and get someone else to confirm it. Find out how Sta Bil stacks up and why it maintains its place as a standard for fuel stabilization. I'm Bob, Sta Bil brand manager, and today we're going to do a little show and tell. We're going to explain how we make sure every bottle of Sta Bil you purchase does what it's supposed to do. And beyond that, why choosing Sta Bil is the right decision in the first place. Today, we're going to explain why we get third-party testing and how you can read the data for yourself. What our Chicago manufacturing team does to make sure you get the same product every time, and how our quality control lab makes sure nothing slips through the cracks. First up, we're outside our Innovation Center where R&D Lab Manager David is going to explain how Sta Bil stacks up with the competition and how you can read the data for yourself.
Before we're able to do any kind of third-party testing, what we'll do is we're informed by the marketing team of which competitors that they want to evaluate. So the competitive products are in marked vials, labeled with letters, and they are sent to a lab that has no idea what we're sending them. We know what we sent them because we kept a record of that, but they do not. And then when we receive the results, then what we'll do is we'll compare the unknown results of the marked bottles to our acquired samples. They compare our products to a base fuel, as well as any samples that we send them. Fuel that comes from the refinery is actually required to last 240 minutes of life. And what that means is after 240 minutes, then the fuel starts to degrade. 80 minutes is the minimum that the fuel has to stay fresh for 1 month period. Now, whenever we get the results for the antioxidative stability or the ASTM D525, they'll assign a number. We will then take that number, we will divide that number by 80, and then we will divide that number again by 12. First number we get is the number of months of stability. The second number that we get is the number of years of stability. That is how we can prove that our Sta Bil products, they are stable for the amount of time that our claims are listed on our bottles. Many of our competitors actually degrade what the base fuel is. As an everyday consumer, when you go to our website and review our data, you'll see percentages for the antioxidation. And these percentages will tell you, compared to a baseline fuel, you're better or you're worse, or you're just even kill. And from what we've seen from our testing is that our products tend to come in a much higher, like I said, a minimum of 103 all the way up to 145% stability ranges. Whenever you're looking at our chart and you see percentages, what you're actually telling yourself is, I'm extending my fuel by 145% its life. I'm actually extending my fuel by 103% of its life. What I can state definitively is that our word, although we believe in quality, we believe in integrity, our word at the end of the day, unless it's validated by third-party testing, doesn't really mean much. And so if we can prove it to a lab that has no idea what we're sending them, then the consumer can rest comfortably knowing that there was no bias in this test. So we took ourselves out of the equation, and the consumer can know that what they're getting is legit.
Coming up with a top-performing formula is one thing, producing it over and over correctly and on time is another. Our production team has done this for decades, and we continue to improve and find efficiencies every year. Here's our VP of Operations, Mike, to explain how.
So we started producing Sta Bil in 1986 at this location, and those who started working on the line are still here today producing it. Over the years, our operators have developed standard operating procedures and policies that ensure consistent quality in the bottle. So to operate at that high level under the guidance of ISO 9001, it requires us to not only document our procedures, but to do it the same way every time. We do have a continuous improvement director that helps guide us, but ultimately every operator is responsible for the quality of the product.
ISO 9001 is a globally recognized certification that says that this organization that has this stamp takes customer requirements, all the way down through the delivery side of the product, Sta Bil does what it says it does, because as we produce over months and over years, we continue to make sure that the product continues to be effective, our processes and our people continue to be effective in creating and manufacturing. It's always a constant periodic feedback.
Sta Bil was a household name growing up for me, right? My grandfather put it into his lawnmower, my dad put it in his, and I put it in mine. So we take a lot of pride in the products that we make here.
We have checks and balances everywhere, and one of the biggest is right here in the quality control lab. They make sure the batches we produce are up to our own high standards and help us fix any issues that come up. Here's Senior Quality and Compliance Manager, Scott Fisher.
So Sta Bil, the process begins with the incoming material. So every time that we receive additives in that go into the formula, we're taking samples from every lot. There's 8 different components. We're also looking at incoming labels. So when the labels arrive, we look at the artwork. We also scan the UPC codes to make sure that they all scan, because that's critical at the point of sale. So we have a software red zone where we're constantly checking tank hookups, the correct labels, bottles, caps, all the components are correct. We give them a standard too from the lab where they're going to check that the labels that they're using are correct and the bottles oriented correctly. Once they complete the production run, we sign off on all these red zone checks that are done, and then the product is good to ship. Every bottle that we're manufacturing needs to meet the specifications that David's lab determines, and that's why we're constantly checking the batches and the filler samples and even taking line samples and retaining those too. So if there ever is a quality issue or if something's out of spec, we'll have the retain on hand for 3 years, so a customer can call with the date code that's right on the bottle, give us the date code, we can pull a sample and investigate immediately rather than wait for a sample from a customer. We'd have our own samples to investigate.
So there you have it. We say Sta Bil is the best because we've seen the data. We stay at that level because of our dedicated operations team, and we keep improving because of the checks and balances we have in place. Don't take our word for it. Pick up some Sta Bil today and test it for yourself. We work every day to make sure that you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.